gamers all around the flat universe. Today we are doing a new Civ tier list. It's time. You know, I went through the patch notes a couple of times over the past week or whatever. We also played a lot of games, but probably like 40 games since the patch. And right now it's about 5 days since Season 2 has started and about a week since patch hit, right? Because patch hit 2 days before the season. So some things might change obviously in the future, as always is with the tier list. Like they're not, you know, forever in Season 2. We might get a patch next week that something's gonna change. But in my opinion, these are the Civ tier lists right now. And then we're gonna check if my prediction of what's gonna be good was correct. Because I actually don't remember what I put, so I'm not gonna like put the same stuff. Let's get started. Number one Civ right now by far is HRE. There's no question about it. This is, again, I have to specify this. I am talking for highest level of play. If you're losing in gold with HRE, that's because you're gold, okay? That's not because of HRE being bad. It's because you're gold, okay? As I said one time, HRE doesn't suck in gold. You suck in gold. So, at the highest level, HRE is by far the best Civ. It's Castle timing and Imperial timing are even better than they were before. Some of the Civs got nerfed regarding the aggression. French got nerfed a little bit, which was the natural predator or HRE, and they're just really good. I mean, there's not much to say. They're just really good right now, and I feel like maybe they're a level above everyone else, but I feel that a very good Civ and skill to have, I would say. All right, next one we will be talking about is Mongols. I've said this, I think it's going to be the worst Civ. No one's playing Mongols anymore. I rarely play against Mongols, and when I do, it's just cringe. Like, I've had a couple of Mongol, I think I played maybe against 2 or 3 Mongols, and the game like goes like they're trying to tower, I deny it, and then I literally just aim with my army and walk over them. And they don't have, they just, I'm not gonna go into this again. They just don't have a lot going for them. I think they got over-nerfed over time, and other Civs kept getting buffed. So in theory, Mongols' gameplay hasn't changed. They haven't received any changes in a positive way, but other Civs have. And other Civs have received buffs that are good against how Mongol used to play, with tower rushes, with lancers, and stuff like that. The next Civ that we will be talking about is... I'm gonna put them here for now. It might be on the same tier as Mongols, but I think English... You know, they suffer from the same problems they've suffered for like 9 months now. You know, they're okay in feudal, not at the pro level anymore. There's a lot of Civs that omega counter them. HRE and Delhi completely counter English at the high level, to the point where it's like almost a free win. And whenever you have a Civ that loses really badly against the top 2 Civs, that Civ is not going to have a good time, right? Because whenever you pick English, there's a very good chance you're going to run into one of these. Not to mention, English is not really, I mean, it's playable, but no one plays it on water maps. And right now in the tournaments, we have a lot of water maps like Four Lakes, Frisian Marches, and English just sucks on those maps. Like, there's no benefit to playing English. So it's like, if you want to play English on those maps, you might as well just pick other Civs. But on the maps that English can be played, like Dry Arabia, you might meet HRE or Delhi, and then you get stomped. So I just think that because which Civs are at the top level, and because of the maps we play in tournaments, English is not that great. If you get to the late game, obviously they're really good. You know, the good old, they suck in castle. In feudal right now, they can't really put pressure on Delhi or HRE, but then, you know, later in Imperial they pick up, and that's great. But at a high level, it's pretty hard to survive to that point with an even game, I would say. The next Civ we will be talking about is Delhi. It's really good. Like, not much to say. I think one bad matchup for Delhi. Two bad matchups, actually. I think China is pretty bad matchup for Delhi. Or pretty bad. you know, winnable from China's side. Abbasid is decent into Delhi. HRE is really good against Delhi. But other than that, Delhi is still like super powerful. I don't know if you guys know, but blacksmith upgrades got fixed, so they work properly on the elephants. So technically the elephants are stronger now, even though they got 100 health nerf. It's just a really good civ. You see it picked all the time, although I feel like it didn't do too well in the recent weekly. I'm not sure why. I didn't play, so I didn't really get a feel of like what was happening from playing point of view. But I saw a lot of players lose with Delhi. But I still think they're really good civ. Obviously the water maps are not too great for them, but overall it's pretty good. The next civ we are going to be discussing is China. And China, a lot of people thought it's going to be right here, and they were wrong. I think China is really good right now. Probably the best, actually, that China has ever been in the game. China was always OP in Imperial, to the point where it's like if you get to Imperial you just win, right? And their siege got nerfed, like the range, but their siege still has bonus health, so technically their siege is still the best in the game. Fire Lancer's spearman spam in the late game is so insane because the ancient way, the landmark, every time your dynasty unit dies, your units get 20 healing over 20 seconds and they get 20% attack speed. So if China reaches late game, you don't suffer from like just having siege that's strong. You suffer from hand cannoneers that have more range, from grenadiers, from their 2 landmarks which are keeps, and you're playing against mass spearmen and fire lancers that also produce gold when they're made, and they cost almost no gold. So it's like you can just flood your opponents with units. And you know, China used to be played as like a death ball and you just go and kill everything, but now you can play it like that with hand cannoneers, but you can also just harass everywhere and just do a shitload of damage with fire lancers. I think it's playable on open maps. I've played it a lot on Dry Arabia, I've played a lot on Lipany and stuff. It's 100% playable, which was never the case before. It was always trash. You could never defend. It just did not work. And that's because China has received a lot of buffs. The granary buff was great. The making imperial officials from your feudal landmark was huge. And you can definitely notice having extra economy because of that. So I actually think that once players improve more and more, I can see China going to S and then Delhi going down. Because China is a lot different to play now, and people already at the high level have really good results with them. So I think we might get a swap of these two in like a couple of weeks. Next civilization we will be talking about is... I think Rus... It's so hard to put Rus here because I don't think Rus is bad. Rus is just there, you know. They're just a good civ, right? But I'm not like, oh man, you know, I gotta pick Rus every time. It's really good on some of the water maps that we have in tournaments, and that's why they get banned, literally because of one map. But other than that, they don't really see much pick priority. Obviously they get picked, but they don't get pick priority. A lot of people will prioritize some of these other picks. And like I said, they're not necessarily bad. It's just that I don't think they necessarily excel at anything. Next one is French. I think French has received a nerf. It is still extremely common pick at the high level, and it's probably going to continue to remain a common pick. There's so many players, and this comes down to what I was talking about earlier. There's so many players that have played so much French that even if the civ gets nerfed, people will still play it because they're so used to it, right? So French got nerfed where chivalry is now more expensive, but also the meta with French has changed. So now French players go like 1 or 2 knights into second TC, into more pressure, and they kind of do like prolonged feudal. And that makes the chivalry nerf not as bad because you're playing with more economy and you're in feudal for longer. So you're not really like doing the super 1 base all-ins anymore. At a high level, it's mostly 2 TC, and then you just, you know, crank out as many units as you can and you go for it. Twitch chat, where do you think Abbasid is? Where do you guys think Abbasid is? To surprise of many, and myself, I think Abbasid is actually really good civ. And I'm gonna put Abbasid into A tier. I actually think they're better than French in the current meta. I think Abbasid is just a really solid pick. Like, I feel I can play Abbasid anywhere. I don't see a map where Abbasid is bad. It can do so many different things. And the meta right now is trash units at high level. Trash units are units that don't cost gold. So units like archers, camel archers, horse archers, spearmen, horsemen, those are trash units. That is kind of the meta at the high level now. You don't really see these like clumps of units and slowly moving with siege. You just see spearmen, horsemen, archers running everywhere. And Abbasid is the king of it. Like, they have the best spearmen in the game. You know, HRE has bonus 3 armor, but Phalanx upgrade I think is way better than the HRE spearman upgrade. And they also get bonus health on their infantry. Camel archers are really good, like really good in the late game. Horsemen are really good, and I just think that Abbasid, the reason I'm not putting them S tier, because I don't think they're OP. Like, I find these to be OP. Like, I can see a weaker player beating a better player with these two civs. Abbasid, you have to know how to play it, but if you do know how to play it, it doesn't really have weaknesses, in my opinion. I think Abbasid, at a high level, if you defend the first 2 knights, it counters French. It can do okay against China. It can do okay against these 3, definitely against English. And the interesting thing is why I put it so high is because Abbasid does decent against HRE and against Delhi, which is, again, it's extremely important at the tournament level, right? If you can beat HRE and Delhi. If you can't beat it, like, if Mongol can't beat either of these civs, then it kind of sucks, right? Or if Mongol can beat HRE but lose to everything else, it kind of sucks. Abbasid can deal well with pretty much any civ, but it actually has a really good matchup into Delhi, where it can contest Delhi and fight Delhi with like horsemen, camel archers. It can also fight against HRE and deny relics because they have camel archers and horsemen, so they can kite forever. And I think they're just a solid pick. Like I said, if the game gets to, you know, later stages, you have really insane economy with all the eco upgrades they have. Your infantry's got more health. One thing that I thought is going to be a nerf to Abbasid, by the way, was, and I think I put them lower than now, siege engineering, so they can make siege on the field. So I thought that that's not going to be as good anymore because I thought the siege will be easier to kill. But siege is actually harder to kill now because torches used to have some range on the melee units, but now you have to hit siege like in melee range. And now you can actually body block your siege. So what you can do with Abbasid is kind of like what you used to do. Do the siege pushes with a couple of mangonels, and if they have horsemen or try to snipe off your mangonels, it's extremely hard to do. Like, you can just put your spearmen around your siege and they're not going to be touched. And if they go springles, you go your own springles, right? So I think Abbasid is pretty good. I really have been enjoying playing it, and it's probably gonna. I don't see Abbasid moving anywhere. I think it's just gonna stay here. The civs that I can see move up and down, by the way, is China being S tier. Once people get better, and I feel like even with, you know, Delhi being so strong and popular, I feel like players are maybe getting better and better against it, and that's why in the last Road to Wololo Weekly they didn't have great win rates. So I think that Delhi might fall off a bit, especially because HRE is so like dominant in a way. But yeah, in a way it feels bad to put Rus here. Like, but I also don't think that Rus is on the same level as China, for example, or Abbasid, or French. But the best part about this is, if you ask another pro player what they think about their civ tier list, they would probably have different order. And that's great, right? Because someone that mains Rus as a pro player, like that's their main civ and they love it, they might put it a lot higher, right? And I've seen, for example, 2 players that I've seen play a lot of English. Obviously, Mista, I saw you in the chat. Mista plays English. Vortex and Lucifer play a lot of English. And most of the other top players just don't even touch English at all. Like, they would rather play Mongols because that's what we're used to than play English. So AOE4 is becoming like a much bigger variety depending on the player. What civs are good in people's opinion and which ones are not. And we're going to check the civ prediction that I did and how far off my opinion has changed. So this was my prediction last patch. Oh boy, was I wrong about Mongols, Omega lol. I probably made this video about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was super wrong about China because I thought the siege nerf would impact them so much that they're not going to be playable. But it turns out the meta is literally just spearmen, horsemen, and just spamming trash units, and apparently they excel at it. Oh, it was before the new patch notes. Okay, Cascade saved me. Cascade saved me. Guys, Copium, I wasn't wrong. Yeah, I remember that they did add more patch notes, but yeah, you can see I put English in the C, still C, Delhi and HRE at the top. Rus now I think is a bit lower, even though on the ladder apparently has high win rate. I don't know about that. So these are the predictions that I had, and these are my picks right now. A little bit different, but not too far off. Obviously, China is swapped with Mongols. Abbasid is 1 tier up. Rus is down 2 tiers. English is exactly the same, so we'll see. Maybe I'll do another one in like a couple of weeks and see if the meta changes. So that is my Civ tier list right now for top level play. So if you're Pepega and you're like, man, Mongols is the worst, I'm never gonna play Mongols again. Any level, guys, any level, including diamond, including plat, gold, silver, bronze, you can play any Civ and you can climb all the way to conquer. I don't want people to be discouraged by this. You know, some people might be like, oh, China is so far away from Mongols. That doesn't mean the win rate goes from 90% to 0. You know what I mean? I don't want people to get discouraged to play Civs. I think legit with any Civ you play, you can get to conquer. What matters the most, and this is something that I've learned over years and years of gaming, you're gonna be way better at a Civ or race, depending what game you play, that you enjoy, than a Civ that is good. Because if you don't enjoy the Civ that you're playing, you're gonna play it much worse than it can truly be played. So, you know, even if Mongol is, you know, not as good, if you're a good tower rusher, if you love placing those towers, then play Mongol. Games are supposed to be fun. If you're Omega tryhard and you want to one-trick something, you know, and just play one Civ and you want to get all the way to the top, well, bad news, you got to play all 8 of these Civs most likely if you want to compete. But if you're looking to play solid Civs and you're, you know, bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond, I would probably suggest try all the Civs and figure out what you enjoy. If you're a beginner, as always, play French or English. They are the easiest to learn and play. And obviously I have guides on YouTube that still hold up to this day. I think Chinese guide needs to be updated, and maybe HRE, but the other ones still hold, and I get that asked a lot, just so you guys know. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on Twitch, let's get that 2,000 points, baby.